Hello everyone. I wish each one of you a very beautiful, blessed, breezy, brilliant, and pleasant afternoon. Success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. One more time, success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. The famous line given by Robert Collier, a famous American author. With this beautiful line, I welcome you all for yet an amazing session. This is Professor Shyam K. Mishra, your moderator for today's session, and I would like to welcome you all in the induction program of our 22nd batch of the PGDM. So before we get started, I would like to brief you about the flow of the session. Session will be of an hour and 30 minutes, in which the first 1 hour for the discussion and rest 30 minutes will be for question and answers. You can type your questions in the chat box and that will be addressed during the session. Now, I would like to introduce our first guest, Ms. Akshita Karankar, the HR Head and Corporate Sales at Danik Bhaskar Group, Mumbai. Let me speak, let me tell you more about the map. Akshita ma'am has started her career in year 2002 with AOL as a senior quality analyst. She worked there for 4 years. She worked with Centrum Direct Limited as assistant manager. She joined the organization in year 2006. She worked with News Wire 18 as a manager HR and admin, as well as the Ad Factory as senior manager HR. Now she is the head HR with Danik Bhaskar Group, working with Mumbai. She is a persona, and we are glad to welcome her today. So welcome, Akshita ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Now we have the second esteemed guest, Mr. Devendra Medikar, Manager HR at CNBC TV 18. So, Devendra sir had started his career again with the same 2002, with Star News as a broadcast engineer. Then she joined CNBC TV 18 in the year 2008. She joined the CNBC TV 18 as a chief engineer, then promoted as assistant manager, and then promoted as deputy manager. Now, Devendra sir is the manager HR with CNBC. Both the esteemed guests are persona today, and we are glad to welcome both the guests. Now, this is the time to start the session. So starting, let me ask Akshata sir first to introduce or to speak something about the as well as about the topic.
So, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much for having me here. Every time I get an opportunity like this, I never say no because it is always reverse learning. I get to share a lot of thoughts and I get to take home a lot of thoughts back. Thank you so much for having me here. So I think the topic today, what we are talking, media and entertainment as an industry, it's a vast industry. Just to give you a small example, we are like 136 crore population country. In that, if you see, there is around 57% of them use internet. That is the kind of a penetration we are talking about. So that is, the kind of a reach. Tomorrow, let's say you have students from media and entertainment who are passing out. The kind of plethora of opportunities they get is vast. And the beautiful thing is, earlier there were very few sectors, there were very few job roles. Today, if you see, students can look at their interests and accordingly choose what they want to do. That is the beauty about the sector, and it is vast. There is a lot of learning. And today, if you see, customer is king. So everything what we do is customer centric. Everything what we do is customized. So it is a very good thing that you're organizing a session like this where kids get to understand, the students get to understand the kind of reach of this industry, this sector. So I think it's a great way to start for them because it's the first semester. There'll be a lot of learning they will have, both theoretical and practical. So it is important that you're introducing them to this very early in life. So thank you so much for doing this. I'm very happy your institution is taking some efforts in these lines to introduce very early instead of waiting for end of the year or maybe during placements. I think this is a great thought. Thank you so much for doing, and thank you so much for having me here to share my views.
Thank you very much, Akshata ma'am. Now I'm requesting Devendra sir to have some words, speak some words to the students. Devendra sir.
Yeah, thanks, sir. Thanks for giving this opportunity. Yeah, working in broadcast field is what I can say is a opportunity for me. And this industry, as you know, is very dramatic. If you have one thing in today, it will not there for tomorrow. It is changing rapidly. So this type of events are very useful for students also. They should know what is going on and how things work. So I have 10 to 15 years of experience in this field. As you know, when we are at teenage, we wait for Doordarshan, Rangoli. I hope all of you remember that. But nowadays, just click of button, you are able to watch your favorite movies, PGDM. But how things works, students should know so that they can exploit, use things to their full potential. So my expectation is to get some things from this session and use it for their future. Will be good for them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for the kind lines. Now we are going to start this panel discussion, and my first question is with Akshata ma'am. So nowadays, as we can easily see that this is the digital revolution all over the world. We have, even in India, we have the internet access even in the villages also. So can you put some light on what is that impact of internet and social media on the new generation nowadays?
So, thank you so much for putting up this question. As I started my talk saying that, the kind of penetration today India has in terms of users, it is like, more than 50%. It is huge. So today, from the time we start our day till we go to bed, I think in all forms we are using, social media, we are using internet. So there was a time, if you look at the ENY report which came in 2020, it says just in the last 2 years, that is 19 and 20, 45% of internet users have been added, added to the population. So that is the kind of a speed we are talking about today. So did we ever think that our kids will have their sessions sitting at home? They'll be able to attend the school. So today, if you see, we are almost a year and a half in the system, and already everything is moving smoothly. Today, we are talking about hybrid working. We are talking about remote working. So that is a beautiful thing, especially when you talk about media and entertainment as a sector. There is a huge set of population. There is at least 35-40% of people who are working remotely, what we call them as a gig worker. So earlier there was very, very difficult for us to include them as part of our system. But today, if you see, we have seen and tasted success in the last 2 years, or maybe at least a year and a half, as to how things are working very smoothly without having people actually on the location. So I think going forward, I think this will be a huge thing for people, for corporates, for, you mentioned a lot of students are from different cities, from different areas. I think this will be a great opportunity where people will sit in their own city and they will be able to work for their dream company. I think this wouldn't have happened if there was no internet. And also today, if you just Google and see, there are like 100 plus channels. There are at least 40 plus OTT channels, and all of them are regional. If you see, I think 2-3 years back, if you see, hardly we would have 3 to 4 regional channels. But today, if you see, I think then 70% of the users are regional users. So that is the kind of a reach what we are talking today. So that is why when you all mentioned about a session like this, I was very happy because here you are introducing kids to understand the kind of reach or the kind of sector they belong to. So I think it is really great. I think going forward things will be much better because everybody has started using and understanding the importance of internet and how it will work. But one small note I would add: anything, there is always two sides to everything. Nothing comes like good. So there is always a good and a bad side. So there are a lot of things, if you read about or if you research as to what are the cons, as to what are things where students have to be careful about. Many a times I think, students, it becomes too difficult. They start comparing themselves. The world or the social media, what you talk about, it is very huge. So many a times what people put up on the internet is not actually what they are. So it is difficult for kids to understand what is right, what is wrong, what is real and what is not. So here I think that is where we need people who keep telling them, how much screen time to use, what are things they need to be looking at. Recently, in one of the event I was talking, where there were students who were telling, they were getting links saying that, in just a click of a link, they have to register their bank details and they would get an opportunity to work for a MNC. And the moment you click on it, I think that it asks for the bank details, and then there is a registration which says 50,000 rupees you need to pay. So here again, many a times you don't know. It is very easy for you, especially when there is a process, when there is a link that is sent to you. Very easily you get trapped. So this is where, if you see, it is too important that we keep talking to students and help them understand what are things they should be careful about, what are things they should know which are good things, and what are things where they should be careful about so that they don't get into these traps. So this is where more sessions like this, where you understand and help them understand the awareness of social media and what are things they should be careful about, I think that will definitely help.
No, that's really the great point you have raised, ma'am, that because now this is the digitalization, this is the era, social media era. So we have to be very careful about the people who are misusing this platform and making the innocent people fool. So that's really the great message. Now my next question is with Devendra sir. Devendra sir, as we all know that now the media and communication sector is growing like anything. Now there are something around 1600 satellite channel. That is more than 400 are news channels, and it is the biggest newspaper market now of the world is nowadays. We have 100 million copies sold each day. If you see in the newspaper type things. So now, what is actually the scope of the growth for the new entrants in this field? Because it's still, if we see the new generation, we leave the mass communication students, the other student, it is still there is lot of things to do so that they will enter in this sector. So what is actually the growth chances and scope for the new entrants in this field?
Yeah, actually, growth aspect is really tremendous. You see in your coming future that this industry will grow tremendously. This satellite field is evolved in last 10 years, has dramatic effect on digitization. If you know, at start, some analog channels only are there in market, and nowadays OTT is also there. OTT available, OTT platforms are available. I think this all these OTTs and social medias and all like a double-edged sword. You should be careful for using, or perhaps what I can say, you have to think wisely for getting those details and clicking over any links, or just like Akshata ma'am said, you should be careful. But beside these cons, advantages are really tremendous. Students can optimizely used, and what I can say, technology is developing so fast. If they are not able to grasp it correctly, they cannot use it wisely. So students should look for technical aspects also.
Okay.
So if you're okay, if I can add a point
Sure,
here to
sure.
what Devendra sir said, Sham sir, recently I was looking at InShots, a news app. There I saw there was a girl, Vaisali Yadav from Pune. She's 6 years old, and I think she had a hole in the heart. So the cost of the treatment was running into many lakhs. So the girl wrote a letter to the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister arranged for her treatment. And not only that, there is a hospital which also has taken up her entire education. They are sponsoring her education. That is the kind of a reach. Just imagine, did we ever think, like you and me, when we were growing up, we could write that kind of stuff? So that is what happens on the internet today. I think since there are a lot of students here, they'll all, I think all these kids see Insta reels, right? So this is one song all of you all would remember, that Bachpan Ka Pyar Mera. That boy got famous overnight. If you see the boy's name, I think it's Sadev Viddo. He's from Chhattisgarh. He just sang that song, and one of his uncle just put it up in one of the site, and overnight, if you see, the guy became a hero. The chief minister of Chhattisgarh went and met him. I think MG Hector sponsored a small check as a token for for his education. That is the kind of reach. Just imagine the kid sitting in a Chhattisgarh, and how today some chief minister went and met him. So that is the kind of a reach today we are talking about. I mean, I made a mention of this because these are all something very unique. We never thought that these things, like Anand Mahindra is one other businessman. If you see, he keeps connecting to people on the internet. If you see, he's very active on Twitter. Anytime he sees talent somewhere, he reaches out to them and he helps them. Just imagine the kind of things. There are people directly writing to him. Sonu Sood is another example, where people are writing to him, and he's been doing everything possible, arranging for an oxygen cylinder, arranging for somebody for a bed, and arranging for someone to get back home from wherever they are in India. That is the kind of things, today we see that is happening on social media. I think now when you sit back and think for a minute, you worry, does it really happen? But it is happening. That is the kind of things we are talking about today.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, everybody can utilize this opportunity and manipulate this media so that for their benefit only. You have vast platform and very easy to access. No, everybody can highlight their talent and potential very effectively on this media.
If you see on LinkedIn, I see a lot of people asking for help. Somebody has lost job, somebody is putting up. We don't even know people. If you see genuinely people wanting to help, they will reshare the post so that someone in their network can see. I mean, these all things make you feel good. As I said earlier also, there are things which is always, cons are always there. There are cases where, people take you for a ride. There are cases where you might grab for a lot of things which is right. But keeping that aside for a minute, if I have to look at the positive sides, many times I see on WhatsApp groups, like especially during COVID, people who we don't even know, they would write, somebody is wanting a bed, somebody is wanting, the entire group share it with 10, 20 different groups. I mean, these all things make you feel good.
Thank you, ma'am. So now I would like to put a question. Anyone can pick this question. As you have joined this industry 15 years back, that time the digital era is not that much developed. But now everything is developed now, everyone is connected globally. So what is the job scope for our students? As previously the job scope was great, or right now it is more in terms of the jobs for MBA candidates I'm talking about. Because because of the digitalization, all channels are increased, but the digitization has took a lot of jobs in that. So what is your opinion on that? Means this digitization and increasing channel have increased the job opportunities for our students, or they increase the opportunities for only skilled students? So over to you. Anyone can answer this.
If you're okay, I will first go and then maybe sir can take it up. I think just a small correction to what you said, Neeraj. I think jobs have not been reduced, if I can be very honest with you. The jobs have changed. Maybe earlier we used to have machine mans or weavers. Today things are automated. So there are still jobs. If you look at all the reports in the last 2 years, there are more than 70-80% of new jobs added. So there is no threat that there are no jobs in the market. As you rightly said, I think in your question itself there was an answer also. You said, is it more skilled students are looked at? Yes. I think now the job market is for kids or students or people where they are looking at rapidly changing. I'll give you my own example. I'm a HR person. When I started my career 15 years back, HR was more of a support function. When I say support function, it is more to do with all the back end stuff. We would do the hiring, we would do the recruitment, not much directly, with the business. Today, if you see, HR guys are called as a business partners. That is because you are actually working closely with the business. So it is not only for HR. Today, any industry you talk about, media definitely has more scope only because a lot of things have been digitalized. And thankfully, if you see, COVID has been very, very good for this industry. I am from the print industry. For last 7-8 years, I've been working in the print sector. So though we had planned a lot of projects where we wanted to digitize processes, projects, always there was fear. For somebody who was doing something 20 years in a particular way, suddenly you tell them you need to change, there is always fear. Kuch gadbad ho gaya to. I mean, do we really want to do? They will say, yaar, ab pura mat karna. You start with 20% of the population. Agar theek chala to we will replicate it to others. But thankfully in COVID, अपने पास इतना time ही नहीं था. All of a sudden, one day we decided that we are going to sit at home and work. So here, nothing to do with 20-30%. The entire 100% had to be put on task. I think that is the confidence that the organization or the industry had. So today, if you ask me, all those projects which was pending with me for digitization, where the timelines were 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, today in 2 years, most of it is already up and running. I think that is a good thing. So people have started understanding. The good thing is there was no option. You were pushed into the water and you had to swim. But it is good, at least for the media industry, because a lot of changes have happened in the digitalization of the processes, systems, which is definitely good. At least for print, I would say things were very, very slow. We are a very traditional medium. Even today, we cut it, we send to a client. We used to do all of that. Today, if you see, send. It was a very simple thing we could have done even before COVID. Somewhere we couldn't believe that, oh, ho sakta hai. But today, if you see, everything has changed. Even my office boy today understands how to, take out a e-paper, how to take a particular copy and send it to a client. He's been able to do that. I would say this is definitely a great achievement for us.
That's so great. So Deven sir, if you want to add something on it.
Yeah, actually, nowadays you can say people read newspaper in mobile. I hope you saw that. Yeah,
We also
actually, yeah, people are trending to digital only, and moreover, in terms of MBA students also, it will be very much beneficial for them. Actually, digitization helps in better way. Just like you have to target some customer in certain class, you can easily identify their data and target some ads for them only. So it's really a cool thing to do, and nowadays very sophisticated algorithms are there to filter out customers and target some selective ads to them only. So at least MBA aspirants should look at this media very carefully and grasp whatever can they at their best.
okay,
I
sir.
think, sir, I see one beautiful question Diksha Gaikwad has asked. I think this is one question everybody, even at home, my dad will keep asking me when the COVID thing happened. Yeah, now to you all are working from home, आपका paper कैसे निकलता है? I think this is a beautiful question. Diksha is asking, so during COVID, how did media and communication sector manage to go in the ground and keep us updated with the scenario? So Diksha, thank you so much for putting that beautiful question. So two things to it. One, in newspaper or any other medium, if you talk about, there is a corporate and a regional medium. So if I'm part of Dainik Bhaskar today, I think I have the luxury first to this 18 months I'm sitting at home and working. Whereas all the plants, wherever we have a plant, wherever we have a factory, every single day people have been there at work. Not even one day we did not have newspapers not going to people's house. That is the power of the tier 2, tier 3 cities. All this what we are talking about, the lockdown has been very harsh in metros. But whereas in tier 2, tier 3 cities, I think it was briefly for a month, month and a half. Things got back normal. In fact, even for us, since we are a Hindi speaking newspaper, in fact, the readership has gone up in the last 1 year. We have done a lot of ground events with the mix of, hybrid. Maybe in smaller cities, we've done events. In bigger cities, we have done partly on ground and partly virtual. So these are things we have been doing in the last few months, which we have not done in the past. So thankfully, it has not been a major hit for us, except for metros. If you ask me today, Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, still we are slightly bouncing back. But in other cities, if you see, I think we are all back to the 100% business what we used to do earlier. Things have been normal already.
That's great, ma'am. That you have picked the question by yourself. Otherwise, I was reading the question that okay, I have to ask this question after that.
Yeah.
That's great. So there is one more question for Devendra sir. So Diksha again, she asked the question that what is actually the common mistake that the student used to do while in media and communication field that they should avoid. So what is that common mistake the student used to do while with media and communication sector?
Yeah, it's totally depend what profile are you in. Actually, if you are in engineering or mass communication reporting side, so you have to be watchful regarding your career. Actually, this field is very rapidly changing. You have to update yourself constantly. Second point is be patient and try your best so that you can give your fullest.
So I feel Diksha got the answer that. So now here, I have one question for Akshata ma'am. Ma'am, what is actually the most critical change that we must make to face the future effectively? Because as you said that we have to be very careful nowadays in this digital era. So the question is related to this only. What is actually that critical change that we should make now to face the future effectively so that we can stop such type of digital misuse?
Thank you so much, sir. I think it is a beautiful question you have put up. I think this is something that keeps running in everybody's mind. So, first thing is when things are changing around you with so much, with a very fast pace, if you do not change with that pace, then I think you will perish. This is something I directly work with the directors of the company. So many a times they tell अक्षता अगर हम 100 किलोमीटर पर आवर के हिसाब से अगर चल रहे होते हैं, we should at least get people who would work with us at 60-70 kilometers. Then we can still bridge the gap. But let's say I'm running at 100 as an organization or as a process and somebody is running at 20-30, you will be like lagging behind. So here I'm not trying to create that fear among students. One thing you should be careful because things are changing, like how Devendra also said in when he started, he said things are changing very fast. You need to keep changing and adapting to yourself. Today, if you see, just to give you an example, we never thought of a video resume 2 years back. हमें रेज्यूमे मतलब बॉस आप जो भेजते हो ईमेल पे उतना ही है, नहीं तो आप जब आते हो हार्ड कॉपी लेके आते हो. But today, if you see, there is something called as a video resume. Many companies ask for a video resume. Even Naukri, if you log on, there is an option where it says, please create a video resume. Why they do that? Because today they don't get to meet you. So they want to, even before shortlisting you, they want to kind of gauge your, by looking at today, when I'm talking to you, you might have some opinion about me. It is very easy. So that is why people want to understand that little about you before they meet you. So most of the organizations, especially startups or maybe IT companies, they insist on a video resume. They even ask you, to share a small achievement profile saying that what are things you did. I was surprised in one of the company, I'm forgetting the name, it was a small Bangalore-based company. They had asked in the application, right, what are the rejections you faced in the last 3 years? Very rare companies ask you for what is the rejection you went through. So today that is how things are changing. People don't ask you anymore when you go for an interview, tell me about yourself. People ask you, let's say today you've been made the MD of Dainik Bhaskar, what are 3 changes you will drive? If you say I'm a fresher, main kya karunga? No, they will say from your understanding, what is that you want to do? So people expect you to be updated. People expect you to be aware of what is the things that is happening around. See, people will train you. Any company you join, they will train you. But what are the basic skills they look at? Are you someone who can be trained? Are you someone who is interested to be trained? So these are things which they are very, very particular about. So this is something you should be very careful about. And don't worry, this is not that I'm saying you should sit and learn everything now, because otherwise people won't hire. I'm not saying that. It is very basic. Many kids I see, they don't read newspaper. Last week I was in Pune for campus placements in one of the college. I don't want to name the college. So I was just asking them who's the finance minister, because there were a lot of changes that has happened. The students were finding it difficult to say. They were struggling. Somebody said Chidambaram. I mean, things have moved on. So these are very basic. So it's not necessary you're a finance student or you're a MBA student. These are basic. You're staying in India. You're a citizen. These are things you should know. Tomorrow, if they ask you to talk randomly about the GDP, maybe if they ask you to talk about the employment, issue in India, these are very basic. You need to read about it. If you do not, then people would immediately say, if you're not even able to understand these, then how would we groom you? So I would only request all students who are here, I think keep reading, keep yourself updated. Everything else, I think companies are happy to train.
That's so nice of you, ma'am. Now we have one more question from Nidhi Jaiswal. Nidhi Jaiswal wants to know she wants to know the impact of digitalization on the mass and communication sector. And is that the positive impact or negative impact? Like earlier, the print media, the newspaper used to go to the houses. Now people are more familiar to read it online. So what do you say? Is it the positive impact or negative impact? Or with the CNBC also, in text of CNBC also, is that COVID era and when the people go digital? So what's that? Is it positive for the media or it is negative impact?
May I take this?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, it's definitely positive. Digitalization helps in a very good way regarding flexibility, regarding reach, regarding audiences. It's very good. But government should watch carefully for fake news and all that stuff, because overall reader is not actually know what is good or what is the right news. So media should have some responsibility to publish it before I can say, uh, doing on air of any content.
And I believe that media is doing this also. Nowadays, it has been seen that when some fake news used to get published, so after some time, we get that confirmation that no, this is the fake news. Yeah, actually, we would like to put some light on it.
Yeah, I think Devin sir beautifully put it up. That is the only caution. See, anything you do today, there is always a good and bad side to it. But the good thing for us getting digitalization is more of it is positive. But there is one small thing about the fake news. I still remember when SP Balasubramaniam, the singer, when he was hospitalized, every other day on different digital forums, there were news about his death when he was still alive. So that is the beauty about print as a medium. Print, it comes with the source. In digital or any other forum, if you see, or even for that matter, TV and print are very, very reliable only because they always come with the source. There is always an accountability. So even today, if you see, despite having so many apps, you talk to anybody in the tier 2, tier 3 cities, they believe whatever they see in the TV, they believe whatever they say in the newspaper. They would still look at all the other apps, they would keep themselves updated, but let's say if they see it, they would want to get the confirmation from these two medium. Only then they are very sure, because digital is still yet to establish that kind of a credibility. So even like how you mentioned, sir, Sham sir, Times of India and other companies, even Dainik Bhaskar is running a campaign saying that print is a credible medium. So that is only because everything what you publish, there is someone who is accountable for that. Unless they check, unless they publish the source, they do not, put up that news to you.
That's so nice of you, ma'am, and sir as well. So we have one more question that is from Abhijit.
Sir, may I take the question first?
Sure.
Sir, my question is to Devendra sir. Sir, already you are in a broadcast media since last 1 decade. So can you share some of the technologies which are changed in these last 10 years, as well as the job opportunities for the non-technical candidates in your organization? Now over to you, sir.
Yes, in last past 10 years, I saw tremendous changes. As you know, first analog satellites are there. Some cable operators are there, and they used to modulate some 10, 15 channels and reach to your home. I think you watched them, or you just remember that VHS tape you played in VCRs and watch it for whole night. I think uh, some of you also experienced that. But
Yes, sir.
nowadays
This
things
our
change.
generation have experienced all these things that VCR, taking on rent, CDs. Before CDs also the film wala jo tha na, cassette like that. So we have
Yeah,
used that. Yes, sir. Over to you.
yeah, yeah. Basically, digitization start from last 5 years. Before that, we used to do analog things. Um, I think every student or everybody use CDN in some extent, some way in their life. For example, you use Google Photos. That is a kind of CDN. CDN means content delivery network, right? When things go to cloud, it become more flexible. You, if you want to get these things to reach every corner of world, you can do on one click only, right? So in terms of satellite, in terms of CDN, things are really cool now. Before there are some limitations to live telecast, live broadcast, but nowadays reporter come with small mobile and do live. I think Akshata madam knows that very well. So
You will be
things,
surprised. You see, they get a small thing. You will be
yeah, yeah,
wondering why they would get a huge thing and there would be a car that would come along.
yeah, Obi man,
हमने
yes,
जो कार है उसमें they would get all the saman. Today, if you
yes,
see, they
yes,
carry a small bag. Reporters, they
yeah,
have
that is,
everything.
yes, that is Mojo Kit only.
Yeah, yeah.
So my motto is to say, student, you just studies is just not alone. You should be some technical quotient also. You should learn how things work so that it will benefit you a lot. Nowadays, reporters stand in front of mic and said that I don't have knowledge to do streaming and all that. She can't talk like that. So everything, if you want to join this field, you should be a part of technical quotient in you.
If I'm allowed to share, I will share one personal experience. I would have great fear to talk in front of the camera. I can talk in public, I can talk maybe one to one. When we got into COVID, first few meetings I would get scared. First thing, you're not used to talking to a system. First thing, you don't know where to see, whom to see. Abhi, now in a situation like this, you don't know how many students are there. Their cameras are off. I would have a lot of fear. I remember one or two meetings I did initially. I would go blank. I wouldn't, it was a 1 hour, 2 hour webinar. I'm just logged in and suddenly they're asking me something, I'm lost. So today, if you see, I have realized this is very important going forward. I can't say that I can only talk in a forum. I can't say I can't talk in front of a camera. So I learned, if you see my son, I have a 13-year-old son, he'll always say, Mommy, how do you get scared? People get scared talking in front of people. You are talking here in your house, you should be confident. But he doesn't know my challenge. My challenge is I've never done this before. So many times, if you see, I started doing recording small videos, then I would play. So today, if you ask me, I'm still not 100%, maybe 80-85%, I'm still okay. But that 15% still I have that, not so comfortable thing. So that is how today, if you really want to change, I think you'll have to find ways to change yourself. Nobody will, tomorrow if sir calls me for a meeting, if I tell sir I can only talk to people in person, he will say, Madam, so fir we'll talk after 2 years. That is how sir would say. So I think like how sir said, you should start understanding what are things which is important. And if you're not good at it, start working on it. You have a lot of time.
Yes. Sir, there is one question for you also. As you mentioned that people should be technical as well. They must have the technical knowledge. So is there any advice for the students, the PGDM students, as we have the courses like business analytics as well as the SAP and ERP? So can you suggest any technical course that a student should do to join the media sector as well?
Yes, yes, definitely. Future is for data only. MBA students or PGDM or any student in any field should do analytics, should do some courses regarding data handling. It will benefit them a lot. Future is for data only. If you don't know how to handle data manipulately, you will be lagging for others.
I was surprised the other day to see there are a lot of institutes like XLRA also has come up with a 6 month course on data analytics. So earlier, if you see, there was no so much stress on like how Devin sir is saying today everything is to do with data. How well you're able to handle your data. It can't be like I know everything, but can someone else put the data on paper for me? That doesn't happen. I think you should multitask. Here is where we are saying the MIS, there are jobs going away, but there are new jobs as strategic analyst, where you are actually putting your own data in place. Today, when you're meeting a client or when you're talking to anybody, any field, if you don't know or if you do not have data points in place, I think you won't be able to make that kind of an impact. Otherwise, everything is in air, what you're talking.
That's so great. So I feel students got the message that you should be very strong in data part. So you can do some extra course as well. So there are several things like big data or such type of softwares would be very helpful. So now we have one question from Abhijit. Abhijit is asking that despite of developing countries, we are still behind. We are not that much digital as compared to the developed countries. But yes, nowadays the speed is good. So what would happen after the COVID when things will get normalized? Will that speed continue to become digital or it will go down? So open question, anybody can answer.
Yeah, may I take this?
Yes, yes.
I'm sorry, it's misconception he is having. India is in the pace with others. We are using same equipment that US is using. And
Also, yeah, please go ahead.
yeah, sorry.
No, sir, please go ahead.
Yeah, actually, what in broadcast field or in any engineering field, India is not behind at all. In infrastructure sector, you can say it's lagging because of population only. India is doing well, I think.
I completely agree with whatever Devendra sir is saying, because just if I can bring this example, when we started this vaccination, India was the first country where the digital that vaccination certificate started coming on the phone. Even other countries, there was huge news that India started first. So today, if you see, only reason why you feel things are slow, we are comparing ourselves with a country whose population is less than half of our population. So it is not practically possible, no? Like, you expect things to change at a rate when they are changing, when they are at 50% less of population. It doesn't work. In fact, I feel proud that, we are faster than other countries. Technically, we are more sound. The kind of progress we have made, you must listen to this speech of Sundar Pichai. It's a beautiful speech. He talks about, there is a program called as Internet Sati. There is this Tata Group and Google together, they run a program called as Internet Sati. So what they do is they reach to all the smaller villages in India. They train. There is a lady called as Lakshmi Didi, I think. She's from West Bengal. So this lady in the last 6 months, she has trained 1,100 women to use internet. You should read about it. In fact, can you believe she had an opportunity to meet Sundar Pichai? She's a lady from a very small city. She is 11th pass. She got married when she was 22. She always wanted to study, but there was no internet. So this program gave her an opportunity. She completed her education. She decided that she is going to be an ambassador for people who want to study. So when this program was launched, people heard about her, and Sundar Pichai went to this city and he met her. There is a beautiful photo also if you search about Lakshmi Didi from West Bengal. She met him in person. That is the kind of a thing we are talking about today. So whoever asked that question, please don't feel that we are lagging. In fact, we are growing at a very, very fast pace.
Exactly.
Right. That's so great. Uh, Diksha is asking one more question, and she's asking that media is holding the big. I can say the media is having the big hold on society. Whatever media show, the society absorb it, and they behave. Society behaves like that. So, what is actually the steps media is taking to avoid the fake news propaganda? Because now the politics is too much, prevail in media sector. So, how to avoid the fake news in the media so that the society will be safe? Anybody can answer this.
Yeah, may I take this?
Yes, yes.
Actually, fake news are unstoppable. In fact, government cannot censor OTT also because their servers are outside India. So people should use their wisdom to decide what is truth and what is fake. I think so.
Very apt. I'll just give one small example. Many a times we keep saying, government should do something. Let's say tomorrow government comes up with, a one-pager advice. You think people will follow that? Government will say, only these ads you should watch, check this and then do. There are so many processes already in place. Still, a lot of misuse happens because in India or wherever people are not used to following processes. So today, nobody can go back and forget about fake news. There are a lot of celebrities, they do endorsement, right? People blindly follow. So can we today say that they shouldn't be endorsing it? It is somewhere up to you. You need to have, like how sir said, exactly the wisdom you need to use. Do you really need what you're wanting to buy, what you're seeing? Somewhere there is that judgment which you will have to put in and apply yourself, that nobody will stand by and support you. I think you will have to look at, like since sir mentioned about OTT platforms, it is very, very painful situation today. Look at any movie or anything, it says 13 plus. But the kind of content, because I have a preteen at home, earlier what would happen if it was 7 plus, we would say, you can see. Today, even in 7 plus, forget about English, even the regional movies, there is a lot of uncensored thing which comes up. Just imagine today, as a parent, I feel very worried. There was a time where we would never worry giving our phones to the kids. Today, just imagine, I have all the apps on the phone. Just by the click of the button, there is a very sad trailer also comes. So all of these today, can I go fight with the platform saying that they shouldn't come because I have a kid at home? They will say you put up, first thing is you don't give the phone, or maybe you put up some application where he does not access that. So I think this will always prevail. So here I think what works, as sir said, your wisdom, your judgment. Nobody can come to your rescue.
That's so true and so right. Sir has quoted perfectly that one line wisdom. You have to use your wisdom, otherwise, and this is true also because once we travel or once we walk on the road, this is all about our wisdom. If we come in front of the vehicle, we will face the accident. So now, because we have discussed a lot of things about the digitalization and media, now coming to the students' point of view, that is while recruiting the students, means the management graduates, actually in the media sector, actually what are the skills that the HR or recruiter used to see in the student before recruiting them? So this is the open question, anyone can answer.
I will take this. So I think it's again a very beautiful question. See, many a times what happens, I'll give you one small example. People will say, I have a lot of students, when I meet them, they'll say, I want to pursue my career in marketing. I am like, wonderful. What is marketing? They have no clue. Many times they say, you know what, I want to be a brand manager. Wonderful. What is the brand manager's role? Pata nahi. Can you tell me 3 brands which has made a positive influence on you? No idea. Can you talk about one person who has done, like I remember in one of the interview, this student made a mistake of saying Amul is a brand close to my heart. I said, can you tell me the journey of Amul? Amul as a brand. All of us have grown up seeing Amul. I said, can you? And she spoke a lot about it. 2 months internship she did in Ahmedabad in Amul ka setup. Lot of things she said. Wonderful. Felt very nice. Then I said, first, what does Amul stand for? AMUL. She did not know. Then I said, can you tell me about, how their journey started? They did a lot of work. Today, what they are is all that 50, 60 years of hard work. They did not know. So here, one simple requirement as a recruiter when I'm talking to students, be very clear what you want to do. If you don't know anything, you can always say. See, today recruiters or any employers, they are more than happy to teach you, but they want that, clarity from you. Maybe I might say, I'm somewhere I feel I want to be a marketing person. I still don't know much about it. I have read a little bit, but I don't know. They'll be happy to tell you. They'll be happy to make you understand what exactly the role is in marketing, what are the kind of competencies required. Then they will leave it to you whether you want to do it or no. But many times without knowing anything, they will say, I want to do, I want to do a content writing job. But they wouldn't know even to write a small one page. If I ask them to write, they wouldn't. So when you're telling something, at least do some bit of research. Find out, what you're talking. So that is important. So if you don't know, then as a recruiter, somebody who's sitting on the other chair, they will think the person has not even done the basic homework. Then how would I want to hire somebody who don't know what they're talking? So that is where I would say just read about it. And today you're not like us. We did not have access to people or internet. Today you just want to read about, let's say I want to read about a content person's profile. I just write on Google, it comes. Even today, if you see everything in detail, if I want to apply for a job in Dainik Bhaskar, if I write content writing profile in Dainik Bhaskar, it comes with the JD there. So read about it. Maybe on LinkedIn, connect to people, talk to some people and understand from them. Nobody is stopping you. So I think these are your homework you should you should do and then come. Then the recruiters are more happy to see, you have done your part. They are happy to put in the efforts to groom you, train you, and invest in you.
So ma'am has given the clear message: prepare first, then come to the interview. Yeah, Devin sir, would you like to put some light on the same question?
Yes.
Yes.
Actually, everybody should marketing. What I can say it's term. If you reach to any recruiter, you have to do marketing of yourself. Just I give a classical example of Tata Nano. What they did is very classical. Huh? What they did, they market that car. That car is belongs to everybody can afford and all that. Then that brand doesn't survive because of that only. If they market that Tata Nano as a small car or something like technology's best achievement, that brand will work. That's why you learn from such things, you do case studies and apply that conclusion to yourself only.
On a lighter note, if I can add something here, I think you should be willing, like how Devin sir said. I remember 2, 3 months back, I have a maid at home. She bought a resume of her sister's daughter. She said, "ताई कुछ job है तो आप बताओ इनके लिए." I said, "Oh, wonderful, ठीक है." Since I worked with a couple of NGOs, I wanted to connect. So I called this candidate and I asked her, "What is that you want to do?" She says, I want to work, I stay in Thane in Bombay. So she says, मुझे ठाणे में जॉब चाहिए, मुझे एटलीस्ट 15,000 स्टार्टिंग में चाहिए, मुझे बाहर नहीं जाना है, मुझे सेल्स का जॉब नहीं जाना है, and I don't understand much of tally and all. I said that what is that you want to do? कुछ भी और चलेगा. So look at this pity. So many times, and she's an MBA from a well-reputed institute in Thane only. Just imagine the plight of parents who've invested that kind of a money. It is okay. You don't want to do a sales job. You do not want to go out of Thane. But then there should be some clarity. If in Thane, what is that you want to do? So as kids today, you have a lot of access. You decide. There's nothing good or bad. There's nothing right or wrong. But you be clear. If today you're talking to somebody for a job, at least be clear. You tell me what is that you want to do. If you don't know anything, and then it's like a recruiter saying, I want someone with tier 1 institute MBA, someone who's excellent in communication skills, someone who's from Bombay, someone who's got 2 years of internship experience, but I will pay 5,000 rupees. It is crazy, right? I want the best of everything, but I will pay you peanuts. Same way on the other side as candidates, you cannot not know anything and then you want the recruiters to hire you. Life is not so easy. There's no free lunch. You do your bit, you be clear, people are there to support. Today, organizations are very, very open to talk to candidates, give them all the support, train. Basic thing they expect is how clear you are and how confident you are. There are interviews, I remember I've done interviews in Hindi where people in Marathi, people are not comfortable. We hire a lot of people from the outer skirts of Maharashtra. We very clearly tell them in the interview, you're not comfortable in English, no problem. Talk in Marathi, talk in Hindi. We are happy. Idea is not how well you speak. The job is a content writer. I'm okay if the person is writing in Hindi or Marathi. I'm not saying the person should be in English. So today we are open, but then that confidence should come from the other side also.
Yes, yes, that's so true. So I'm just modifying my question because I asked very general question. So now I'm modifying it. What are actually the skill for PGDM finance student? Because when I say PGDM or that student, it applies to everyone. Now I'm putting it more specific. That is for finance student are actually what are the skills and what are the advice you can give to them so that they can make their future in finance sector, and that is into the media.
I can take that if sir is okay, or sir can take how.
No, you can take it.
Yes.
So finance is one subject that is very dear to me, because finance today, we look up to people in finance as someone who understand the basics. So today, if you are a finance student, I at least expect you to know the basics of what is there in finance. You should be able to at least read a balance sheet. You should know what are the digital changes that has happened in the sector. Forget about big changes. As an individual, as an employee today, if you see today, even in taxation, lot of changes that has happened, not only in terms of the rules, in terms of how you file a return. If there is an organization, any sector you take, you mentioned about FMCG yesterday, you all were talking to people. Each sector has different rules. So if you're a finance person, at least that basic understanding as to, what are the tax norms, what are the basic guidelines government has for different sectors, or let's say if you're talking about getting into a particular sector, you should at least know the basics. Many times when I'm talking to students from the finance sector, they have very average knowledge about their own sector. See, I'm not asking them about, how can you increase GDP in the next 5 years. I wouldn't ask them, but at least your own domain, you should know what are the changes that has happened, what are the tax norms, or maybe any particular. See, mostly these kids would have taken a specialization even in finance in a particular subject. So in that you should be strong. If you're not able to answer questions of your own domain, then I think, it doesn't work. So don't think too much about, should I know something about international finance, global taxations? No, you know about your domain, your country, your sector. Rest of it, the companies will train you when they hire you.
That's so great. Devin sir, would you like to add something on this context?
No, I think that is fair enough.
Okay, okay. So, Neeraj sir, would you have any question to ask?
Yes, sir. Yes. I have some questions, and the questions are open to both the corporates. As we can see that after pandemic, a lot of changes has been seen, and most of the IT companies have cleared that there more than 50% employees will work from home permanently. So in your field too, may I say that means what is your view that after 5 years you are, let us consider if you have 100 employees in your organization, so only 20 will work from office and remaining 80 will work from home only. Like the reporters will have a studio in their home, the content writer have their office in their home. So only 20% or 30% will work from office and remaining all will means it is a 20-80 ratio, I think so. So what is your view on that, that it will happen in your sector too, or it will be like everyone will report to office after pandemic is over? Now over to you.
May I take this?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually happening. Our reporter is doing live from home only. Maximum of them. Few are coming to studios, but they are vaccinated.
Well, for us, if I can add on to that, Neeraj, I think I wouldn't say 80-20 for us for sure. This is where what we are doing is we are trying to understand which are the jobs that can work from home. without much of a hindrance. But at the same time, see, we are all human beings. We want that, social culture. We want that bonding. We miss that coffee machine conversation. So somewhere, if you read a lot of reports, people are saying they are finding it difficult to work from home. So 5 years, what you're saying is too long. Maybe the next 2 years, if you see, there will be a hybrid working. Maybe companies will start like 3 days or 2 days, so that at least there is some kind of a communication still intact. Because today, see, everything is virtual, it is good, but the kind of a bonding that actually builds when you meet people in person, I think that doesn't happen virtually, whatever said and done. Today maybe I'll be very conscious when I'm talking to you on the screen, whereas I meet you outside and I want to talk to you, there'll be three concerns on my head. I'll be easily sharing that with you. All those, as a HR person, if you ask me, we are when we are talking to people, people are not completely comfortable for 100% work from home. So there will be like 50-50 or 70-30 kind of a ratio. But for us in print, if you see, things are like we are not looking at everybody working from home. Sales, it is a must that they do come to office, but all the back end jobs where they can work, where there is minimum interaction with other departments, they are allowed to work from home as of now. That's what we have done.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
ma'am. May I add to this?
Yes, sir. Please continue.
Yeah, sorry for that. Actually, this is future only. Right now, we have limited infra, lot of traffic jams on the road. Things should work in this way only. Those who are necessary to come in office, so they will come, and other will work from home only.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. My next question is general. Sir, if you have any question, you can continue. I will continue later.
You ask. We listen.
Okay. So our students are good in academics, and every student have their own skills. They are from different backgrounds, so their skills are different. So my general question to both of you: if you are going to hire someone in your team or your for your organization or specific technology in which domain which you are working, so other than academics is a different part because they are from different discipline. So which are the skill sets which you are looking for in candidates, like his eye to eye contact, his attitude, what are the skills? So share some skills. If the candidate will build in themselves, it will be beneficial for them. Now over to you.
Yeah, may I take this one? Yeah, actually, biggest and most appreciated uh, quality is self-starting. The candidate should be self-starter.
I think Devin sir has put it beautifully well. I think people will set, give you training, induction, onboarding, but after all of that, what you say, a self-starting mode, that is important because see, people today, everybody is busy. Everybody is fighting their own battle. People are ready to help you, but you should be someone who will go seek help. So once upon a time, there was like, a system where people would come check on you every day. All that is fine. But beyond a point, you can't expect people to babysit you. You need help, you ask for help. See, one good thing is people are always there to help you. But you should know when to ask for help. You should know end of it, it's your career. You need to take owners. So you need to know ki, what are new things happening. You find a mentor, you go learn from them. If you're expecting someone will say, hey, you know what, Diksha, can I teach you today? No, I have spent 20 years in the industry. Every day, half an hour, I want to teach you. I don't think I would want to do, but I don't have time or I would not have thought of it. Whereas if somebody comes and tells, you know what, Abhishek, if you can spend 10 minutes, that is how we have learned. We would approach people, we would go ask them, you should be a self starter. You should be a self motivator. You should keep motivating yourself and stop comparing yourself with others. Mostly we do that, right? Even I do at this age. We do that many a times. We see, you know what, he got this package, he's working there, he has this designation. I think stop, you're unique, you're different. See how you can be a better version of yourself. Today, you rate yourself. If you give yourself a 2 or 2.5, tomorrow or maybe after 1 month, see how you can change yourself and keep rating yourself. See how you can better yourself instead of comparing yourself with someone else. So I think that is too important. That is one thing where you always feel disappointed because you start feeling, I'm not so good, I'm not so worth. Don't do that. I think this is a very important thing. I want all of you all to pay attention to this. Please see what you are good at, and wherever areas where you feel you need to work on, focus on that.
Yes, yes. That's so great, and I feel the student has got the message, the clear message that our panelist has given. Neeraj sir, do you have any question? More questions to ask?
I would like to add one more question here. What do you think that the share of media in job will increase or it will be constant? What is your view? Only a single line answer will also do.
It will increase 100% because today everything is customized. So today, the more customization you have, there are more customers you have. You need to service more people. Earlier, there was an option where you would have to just register for 100 channels. Today, you can call and register for 3 channels which you need. So, in the next 2-3 years, if you see, even in the report, it very clearly says there will be at least 70% new jobs that will be added.
Okay. So definitely the job will increase in future. So students be ready. And the mantra for today's session is prepare and be the self-starter.
Be
So
update yourself.
update yourself because technology is changing day by day. So you have to follow, learn, unlearn, and relearn concept everywhere. So that's I feel we are now the end of the session is coming.
Yes, sir.
So now the final remark. Let's take the final remark from our esteemed panelist. So final closer remark, if anything, Devendra sir, you would like to say to the students, the final remark.
Yeah, I can ask student to be careful regarding their career, and they are welcome. If they have any question, they can open their mic and ask me.
Okay. By default, we put their mic and camera off, so they cannot ask. They can write only.
Okay.
So let's see if we get some question.
Just
Ma'am,
to add to what Devendra said, always there is a misconception that there are less jobs in the market. You need to be extremely good at how you speak, how you present, only then you will get hired. I think all of that, stop looking at the negative side of it. Look at always the things, which is positive. I think that is where, you will be able to move faster. Stop looking at, things what you're not good at. Start looking at areas where you are good at and start focusing on that. Everything else will.
okay. So the clear message is focus on your strength and then work accordingly. So with this closing line, on behalf of IIBM family, I must say thank you very much to both the panelists for sharing your expertise, sharing your knowledge with the students. And I'm sure student has taken the message today and they will comply with the knowledge and with the sharing that what they have received today. So with this closing line, I must say thank you very much, sir and ma'am. Thank you. And we are expecting the
Thank you,
same
sir. Thank you, ma'am.
in future as well.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.